For all of you guys who were just with me in that other live, yes, they did cut me. But I came back. Yes, yes, April, when you get in here, I'm looking at your text. Yes, they cut the whole live, child. Y'all come on back so we can key about it. The most interrupted YouTuber on the planet is I. I told y'all when I be cooking, if the trolls don't work, then they'll just cut the whole thing. I was literally talking about them sending the trolls when I start cooking, and they said, bitch, April, I got your text. Yes, the hell they did. I was talking 1 second, and next thing I know, it was like reconnecting. And I said, y'all tried it. Now, y'all know I'm going to just press live again. I'm going to get off of my Wi-Fi because that's usually how they do it. They push the Wi-Fi button in the house or on YouTube. If it don't work on YouTube, they will push the Wi-Fi button in the house. So I've learned to just use 3G. And then in the OG days, the 3G would go out too. It'd be on LTE. So they literally shut me the fuck down. If they can do that, think about what else the fuck they could do. As I was saying though, oh, I was getting too hot. I was getting too hot. If I ever used to doubt my abilities and my gift, YouTube helped me not. YouTube helped me to know myself and appreciate myself. Anyways, as I was saying, feds, come on in here now. The Trump administration, the feds, the lurkers, all y'all, B613, all y'all, bring your eyes. And next time y'all see that plate going by, come on now, feds. Come on, feds. Y'all got it. Come on. Y'all be sitting up here getting all the tea. Y'all be listening in to the calls and everything, getting all the tea for free with your cheap asses. That's why y'all shaking all the citizens down. Y'all can't even afford to pay for the tea. Just surveilling all kinds of stuff. Just in here. Y'all be in here more than the busted babies. Y'all. Busted babies, lock the doors. The feds in here. And you know they sneaky. Lock them in. Lock the feds in so that they can pass the plate around because y'all got it. Listen, don't be scared of these people. Don't be more scared of them than they is of you. Because it's just little old me and they always cutting my live when I start cooking. This is ISIS. Lock their ass in. Ain't nobody scared of y'all. Come on now. Y'all in here getting this good word. Some of y'all wasn't even born at this time, sitting in seats and don't know nothing about what I'm talking about going on. But sit here so I can learn you something. Okay? Some of y'all B613 don't even know what y'all defending. Not even millennials, just Gen Z. Y'all they're just doing shit. Put your coin in there. Bitcoin, Litcoin, all the coins. Put it on in the feds. Y'all don't get to sit in the live and in the chat, soaking up all the good tea, cutting my lives after y'all know y'all trolls don't work. I told y'all they be in here. They'll send the trolls at first, and then when they don't work, they just cut the goddamn live. They take the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. This time last year, the busted babies was struggling. Listen, the Wi-Fi would go down, the 5G would go down, everything would go down. So I would have no alternative. I'm on the 5G now because I knew that if they let me get back on here, the next thing that went would be my whole Wi-Fi in my house. So I just go on the 5G, and then don't be surprised if they kick me down to the LTE, which means I can't do nothing. I'm burning ISIS for y'all. Y'all smell that, feds? I know y'all can hear it and see it, but can you smell it? Can you feel it? Now that I got y'all in here and y'all digging in y'all pockets, in y'all Rothschild pockets, in y'all Ashkenazi pockets for my offering plate. Don't bring y'all broke asses in here no more and don't put nothing in here. Okay? I know y'all struggling over here in the B613 at the Pentagon. I know y'all struggling with coin. That's why y'all looking at all y'all citizens like Randat running up in weak nations so that you can take from the weak, but you can do that with Iran or Africa. So don't play with me. And Paimon said, count your days. Like I was saying, when they decide to have that Berlin conference over there and invite all of those nigger pastors from the Baptist, Southern Baptist Convention, where all the black people had just come off of Marcus Garvey trying to send us to Africa, and the United States didn't let us go. You know, it was only a matter of time. You know, it was only a matter of time before they had to prepare for the next revolt, the next rising leader. They learned a thing or two from Marcus, and they decided to give the people a leader. Ooh. And this leader was going to control them through religion. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, a cancer to the community. This religion does nothing to harm the white community, but ours? Churches, liquor stores, and trap houses on every MLK Boulevard. You're welcome. You feel free now, don't you? Living the ancestors' dream now, ain't you? You can be just as poor as a poor white person now. You're welcome. You want it to be equal. So now everybody got taxed out the ass. And since you want to be equal to white people, we will even give you a white people to be equal with. A poverty class of white people. I know it hurt them, it killed them to do it to some of y'all Caucasians. They had to, though. You were the lamb that was slain for their salvation. You had to be poor so the black people could believe they were equal to somebody. Because it wasn't going to be the elites. And the only way you could in the Boule is if you pledged Greek. Let's look up the word pledge. I'm sure you Greeks already know what it means. Y'all don't mind. Y'all don't mind. April, I ain't talking about you because I told you to get in how I fit in, but these other hoes be. What is the word pledge? Etymology. Oh, hold on, AKAs. Skewy. Wait, is that y'all? Skewy? Skewy? I don't know how y'all do y'all little head thing, but my sister-in-law was an AKA. And is it the pinky or this? Is it just the pinky? The bougie pinky? Y'all come through and y'all strolls and whatever. Listen. The word pledge comes from Middle English pledge, borrowed from Old French. We don't need to borrow nothing from France. They borrowed the whole Africa. And by borrow, I mean stole. Oh, it's the pinky. The other sign is that, okay, all right. Pinky for the AKAs. This for the Zetas. Z Phi. How I know that? Y'all almost pledged until the first week of pledging. I said, bitch, you got me fucked up. And I left. Day 3, I left. Some people are meant to be pledged to. Uh, Borrowed from Old French plige, I guess, meaning surety, bail, and hostage. Surety. A pledge is a surety. You're offering up something in exchange for something else. But that's something you offer up. It might not be tangible, but they have to hold you to it. A surety, bail, hostage. That's what pledging means. Surety, bail, hostage. Ultimately deriving from a Frankish root, plagen, to guarantee and have responsibility for, connected to Germanic words for care for or risk, an Indo-European root for to be fixed. Germany, Frankish, French, European, Black pledges. French, Middle English, Frankish, German, and Indo-European. The root word for to be fixed. You guys have been fixed and held hostage. You're welcome. So glad I can. So glad I could help. I'm not that smart. I'm just Google. I just know how to think, and I know what questions to ask. Yeah, for you blacks to get some sort of privilege and be seen better than your friends, your peers, you had to pledge. You had to be a hostage to the Greeks. Greeks in Africa. Let's see. Not my Wi-Fi slow. I told y'all they was gonna come for the Wi-Fi next. Oh, now we got it. Any Greeks were introduced to Africa from Greek immigration to South Africa peaked in 1965, but they were already there. Greeks have a long history in Africa from ancient colonies like Cyrene and Hellenistic influence in Egypt and Ethiopia. Isn't Ethiopia the birthplace of Christianity, so they say? But the Greek influence was there. So they say, well, Christianity started in Africa, but was it delivered there from the Greeks? Oh, the Greeks influenced the ancient Egyptians. You guys know in my ancestry test, Egypt was there, 1%. So that means it's the oldest and most diluted DNA I have. Wonder where that came from. Wonder who those people were. Because those were before the Greeks. Particularly in Egypt and South Africa, established through trade and commerce from the 19th century onward, forming vibrant businesses and cultural hubs before facing decline due to political changes and immigration through smaller communities, especially in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Nigeria. And then Nigeria gave up a lot of her resources to the slave trade. And a lot of us ended up in the diaspora and ended up back in Greece. You're welcome. Ancient Greek colonists founded Cyrene in modern day Libya. Alexander the Great's conquests spread Greek language and culture, influencing Egypt, Nubia, and Ethiopia. Why were they in Africa spreading their culture? And why do they still do it through missions? Why did they send for Black Africans to come to Germany to preach them about Jesus? to then send them back to their Black communities to preach to the poor. Why do you have to pay and pledge to join an organization that helps gatekeep opportunities for Black people? Pay for the rest of your life to stay active and then pledge Greek, not African, Greek. Why don't they tell you to pledge Nubian? Why don't they tell you to pledge Egypt? What does the word colony mean? And I'll be done with the etymology for today. Colony etymology. The word colony comes from the Latin colonia, meaning settled land or farm, derived from colonus, farmer or settler, which itself stems from colere, to cultivate, till, inhabit. Ultimately, a Proto-Indo-European root quell, meaning to move around and dwell. Romans used colonia for settlements of citizens, often retired soldiers in new territories. Settlers in new territories. All right, well, Christianity, the form that we have from our Baptist leaders, was given as a form of opposition or defense, also to keep the community in poverty, but specifically the Blacks, given from the whites to the Blacks, a religion given, and they say it's from God. That's where that hand is in the cloud, given by the whites to the Blacks to help defend them. Marcus Garvey, destroyed. South African leader, destroyed. What do you think the Blacks were going to start doing in the U.S. but rebel? And y'all always shut the hell up when they start talking about your good Lord and Savior. Y'all get real quiet. Y'all will tear each other apart because of those beliefs. It's the one thing that can cause division. Jesus. Permanent division. I didn't say they were the first world colonizers. This past position, the Two of Wands, is what I'm curious about. I did not know I was going to be on live all night long from 5 to 9. Y'all better pass that plate around. I ain't playing. Look, the Black people were starting to become unhappy and unsettled. They were getting active. They were starting to fight. Not just that, but organize. In my opinion, Daddy King didn't like that because he had already seen so much brutality. Article says he had seen people be hung, beaten, and all of that stuff. So when somebody is scared, they're going to tell everybody around them to stop, calm down before you make them mad. And they come in here hurting us. Y'all stop talking about that kind of stuff. Stop talking about that revolutionary stuff. They're going to get mad and come hurt us. This is the man that was traumatized by brutality. And he see Black people doing Black people do, and that's rebel, rebel, rebel. Fight, fight, fight. Which is why we're so influenced, because we're the first to say, hell no, we won't go. Even amongst our own people. I think Daddy King was like, shh, shh, shh. Brockton, ain't nobody talking about you. You ain't doing shit. If you could, you would. If they could, they'd do more than just cut the live. There was always going to come a day when there will be a messenger that they couldn't kill. Hallelujah. And I'm giving my ghost up when I get ready. And that's when I can't hunch no more. Then I'll leave, because what else is there to do? I'm just kidding. I ain't hunched nobody in 2 years. Daddy Malcolm, I mean, not Daddy Malcolm, Daddy Malcolm would never, or might. Daddy Martin was like, shh, y'all gonna get us in trouble. They're gonna come in here and start beating us. Now, this is usually the Jesus card, but in reverse, because Jesus hung from a tree, but the Son of God, enlightenment, whatever. However, this is active. Getting off of the tree, because now you're no longer hung from it. Now you're standing on it, standing upright. So all you got to do is put your leg down and walk away. You've learned enough. Now you can become active. You become enlightened enough, wise enough. So now you can be active. Before the Berlin conference, he was preaching a different type of religion. And in my opinion, he was a man without faith, regurgitating what Massa told them it was okay. Because we do know that at some point, slaves were not allowed to read anything but the Bible. This is 1930s, 1920s, and things like that. So he's not far removed from not being able to have access to other learning materials other than the Bible. So it wasn't so much of a belief other than a tradition to preach the gospel. However, when he went to Berlin and heard about the Protestant movements, I'm sure that they gave Martin Luther King to those Baptist men as a form of inspiration, because Martin Luther was a German who started just one of many Protestant movements from Catholicism in Rome. What Hitler gave, or what Germany gave to those pastors, was an okay, or a green-lit form of activism and protesting, because Martin Luther was inspired by a Protestant leader, a German one. So I'm sure they spoke very highly of him. That's the figure that they wanted them to take away from, a Protestant leader, but one who didn't do it with violence, and one who also didn't do it out of the framework that Rome laid. Martin was so inspired by the fact that he was greenlit to go and preach an approved gospel to the blacks, and in return, he could lord over them. So much so that he honored these Germans, by changing his name and the name of his black ass son. Forget what his mother toiled through labor to give him. He went to Germany and found the good white hope and changed him and his son's name. He wanted blacks to calm down and hush before we got in trouble in a time where we were rebelling. Behind the hush, delusion. Religion makes delusion. This is also a card of disillusion, dissolving. That would place a strong delusion over the people and dissolve their righteous anger. Yes, he tamed the blacks. He tamed them. By a story of Jesus, that's him on the tomb, rising after the third day. But you see, those are swords in their resting position, meaning these swords and that message of Jesus raising from the tomb was used as a weapon at some point. By who? Well, you usually see stained glass windows in the Church of Rome and things like that. So at some point, Jesus was a political tool that had no basis in it, and on top of that, kept people from evolving. This is not just the wheel of fortune, the wheel of fate, but also the wheel of reincarnation. The thing is, if we reincarnate, it's supposed to be because we've accomplished whatever our life lesson and purpose was in the previous life, so that the next one we can learn something better or something else that helps us on the next step of our soul's re-evolution. This message keeps you guys coming back time after time after time after time after time after time in the same state. And I'm not talking about economically, I'm talking about spiritually. This is not your first life. Drake lied to you with that YOLO, but Drake is Jewish. So that is his incentive. They lied to you. This is not your first lifetime. You don't go to a heaven and hell after you die. Depending on how you lived in this lifetime, your next lifetime might be a heaven, or it might be a version of hell that you created for yourself. Y'all been coming back time after time after time in the same predicament until the millennial generation, the most revolutionary generation since the civil rights era, so to speak, because we left. Y'all wouldn't have us being able to do this on YouTube like this all willy-nilly if it wasn't for the millennials leaving church, being shunned by our families because we was the first ones to return to that voodoo shit and witchcraft. And we still don't have repaired relationships with our family because of it. But you know what is repaired? The people. I've gotten all I need to get out of Dr. Michael Martin Luther King. The more interesting party would be his father. But I don't need to do a whole reading on him. We just read them both for filth. Factually and spiritually, the information is there. And based on what they give you, you can either ask the right questions or draw the right conclusions on your own. But I shared with y'all all the facts that I found in 2020 when I had to write that paper on Martin. And it started with me finding out his name was Michael. And the same hole I took you guys down is the same one I went down 6 years ago. Definitely did. Definitely did. I abandoned it after a while. I didn't go as deep as I did today, but so how y'all feel? Did I ruin MLK Day for y'all? I ain't celebrated it in, I don't know, probably since I was a child. I don't keep up with holidays and stuff like that, except for the seasonal ones. The equinoxes, the solstices, I've been doing that forever. Not just since it became a trend, but you feel enlightened, April? Good. I feel like I just ruined another party. I can't let niggas have nothing. But we needed to know. It had to be told. And I think it's only fair. I didn't do it for any reason. I didn't know what was going to come out of this reading. I just know it was MLK Day on a Necromancy Monday, so why not do him? Yes, Leo Fire. I didn't even know you was in here. Yes, they protected them all this time. They can release what they want when it don't matter. Because for one, they protected him while it mattered. And two, Black people be so brainwashed, you could say whatever you want. It's not going to make them think twice. And not saying we should judge him because of who he slept with. We should ask questions, though. Understood, Leo. It's okay. One of the Bushwatchers came out and revealed themselves. So, polarity, balance. Well, this was fun. The feds be lurking, the feds be watching y'all. It's never fun knowing that you're being lurked on. But until I don't do this anymore, it's always a key. Making them nervous to themselves that they be pressing the B16 button on me all the way from DC. I asked my ancestors the other day, I said, is y'all proud of this? Y'all happy now? I've done a Malcolm reading before. It was before my lives when I was doing recorded videos. You have to scroll on down to before I was doing lives, and you'll see his face. I absolutely already did, Malcolm. I might do OG Bobby, but he's still alive. So somebody plug him in and tell him to come do a joint live with me, so we can see how he feel about these days. Now, there was a rumor that some people were saying that he was gone to glory, and some people were saying that he lives very low key and privately because the feds was watching. I don't think he's on the run. I think he's off the grid. Sometime last year, I saw that conversation